Joining me today is Natalie Bailey. Natalie is a business and life mentor and a coach who helps entrepreneurs grow and scale their businesses and live with confidence. Natalie, so excited to have you here. Thank you for coming.
I'm very excited to be here too. Thank you very much for having me.
The pleasure is all mine. So, what I love about you, Natalie, is you are unashamedly who you are. Let's talk about why you do what you do and how you got to be the way you were. For those who don't know, you run business mentoring and you have retreats, but where did you start out on your business journey?
That's an interesting question because I was thinking about this actually just earlier on today. And I was speaking to somebody about coming to our next retreat. And they didn't know much about me. So I had to tell them the whole story from the beginning. And actually, when I first moved to Mallorca in 2011, that was my first foray into the world, I suppose. So when I left sixth form, I went from job to job to job. And I thought that anybody that was from London that didn't want to live in London was crazy. Why would you want to live anywhere else than London? Because London's amazing. It's got everything. Right? And our stationary guy from Lyrico, his name's Lee, said, I'm leaving. I'm going to go be a scuba instructor in Thailand. And I looked at him and I was like, what? What do you mean? Why? And a year later, I'd quit my job and got on a plane and come to Magaluf. Now, my mum, Paula, you can call her Paula, will tell you that I went on holiday and never came back. But it was really then, back in 2011, that I found out what it's really like to be on your own, somewhere you don't know anybody, and you don't have the backup of people you know, that support network of your friends and family at home. Like something goes wrong, you go knock on the door, whatever. And the first job I had was in a bar. My boss was amazing. Please don't think it was slave labor. I worked for €5 an hour. So I earned €40 a night, and that was €240 a week. And that was straight, no breaks, 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. But then we had to bottle up and close up and clean the bar, and we didn't get paid for the hours beyond 4. So I worked a lot. And it was really then that I realised I can't sustain myself on €1,000 a month. It's just not going to get me to where I want to be in the way that I want to live. So I had to think outside the box on how do I make more money? There were shop girls, there was all different kinds of jobs that you could do where some girls are making €200-300 a night selling shots. And I didn't want to do that because I'm very much behind the bar. Don't touch me because, personal space, right? And so I worked really hard and built relationships and built a really good relationship with the guy who owned the bar, so that I eventually, after just a month, was running that bar and opening that bar during the day. And then I was also working at night. Over time, came to run another bar. I was still trading time for money, but there was the element of running the business, the stock, the cash, the staff, all of that kind of thing. So it was I've got €1,000 a month to live on that made me go, no. And that's what made me think, how can I do this differently? And that's how I live by everything now, is how can I make this happen? And it's something that I teach to everybody, is when people say to me, I can't afford it, I'm like, okay, how can you afford it? So you flip that around. And that was where everything began for me. And before I changed around a few times thereafter that.
I think that's a really wonderful example though of not accepting the norm and not accepting the status quo, which I think you do a lot, but also the bravery of moving abroad. And I've lived abroad again, and I know what it's like, because you are on your own, and there's some really lonely times there as well, because you don't have that network. But you have options. You can either accept it, or you can challenge it and go, what do I need to move forward? And of course what you did was go, this is what I need. Like €1,000 isn't enough. What else can I do?
I just wanted to touch on the loneliness aspect there as well. And that's such an important part of so many people's lives. And so many people are lonely. And especially when you're doing things differently and in this entrepreneurial world, in this entrepreneurial space, the connections that you make and the relationships that you build are going to be the things that help to lift you. So anybody listening, watching, just to make sure you're connected with the right people.
Thank you. So So yeah, we've got a bar going on, but as you said, there's lots of different pivots along the way. So let's talk about that. What were the highs and what were the lows to get to where you are now?
So if you can imagine, going back, this is over a decade ago, the whole Magaluf or Ayia Napa, Kavos, Ibiza, that whole vibe of party lifestyle 24/7, that was the life that I led. And it was just constant. You just going and going and going and going and going. And I got to a point where I realized a lot of the people around me, they were no longer around me. Bad things happened and they were no longer there. And that made me realize that I couldn't keep living the way that I was, because one, I didn't want a phone call to my mum to say something had happened and something had gone wrong, or, you know, I couldn't come home, or for whatever reason. And that was what made me realize that whilst I thought I was having fun, I was lonely in that space, because people just wanted to know me for what I could give them. That fun aspect, the life and soul of the party, the workers' prices, that they wanted something, and those weren't true connections. So when that happened, I thought to myself, again, how can I change my life and what I'm doing so I can still make money and enjoy myself, but enjoy myself in a better way? And what's the complete opposite of what I'm doing? So I went and retrained as a personal trainer, as you do. And it was the complete opposite. So I went and did that. I retrained. And that was very, very difficult as well, because everybody knew me as the life and soul of the party. So when I would go out, because I would still go out till 5 o'clock in the morning dancing, because I love to dance, I'd be drinking water. And it took a while for people to realise that I didn't want that part of it, but I still wanted to enjoy the music, enjoy the atmosphere. And eventually people started to understand that I was doing something different, rather than you're a personal trainer now, like, don't be ridiculous, you can't do that. And you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna do it better than anybody you've ever known do it. Now, I didn't do PTing better than anybody ever known doing it, but I did, I did all right. But it was difficult because I was coming up with that judgment from people, that complete, I know you for this, and now you're doing something else. And I had to change my circle of people, as I touched on earlier. The people that you surround yourself with, they're either lifting and inspiring you, or they're taking from you. Like, people are radiators or drains. So I changed the circle of people that I was with, and eventually went to manage a gym. But essentially, because that was new to me, that was different, there were a lot of lessons along the way of how to market, how to use social media, how to get out there, make things happen, bring new clients in, keep a roof over my head. So because it wasn't enough, I ended up working 2 other jobs as well. And if anybody listening can relate to that, you know, you're working all the hours under the sun, and still by the end of that, I was still miserable.
Yeah. The dream is never quite what the dream, well, what we say in therapy is the problem is never the problem. I think the dream is never the dream, because there's a price that we pay for some of these things. And is it the right price for what you want? And yes, you're living abroad, yes, you're making more money, but if you don't have time to spend that money or enjoy the money, or if you're still actually just scraping by even, what do you do next?
Well, exactly that.
You've retrained and you've also found new friends, but you've discovered that the dream isn't the dream. The problem isn't the problem. So for you, being the person that you are, obviously, I would imagine you've took a step back and gone, right, this isn't what I wanted. What do I do now? So what did you do now?
Well, I actually, when I was working these 3 jobs, so it was 7 days a week, 5 nights a week, I was obviously running the gym, doing my personal training, and the night job was working in India. The disparity there is not lost on me. And the other job I
Who
had...
doesn't love Indian food?
Well, the thing is, and do you know what's so great about working there? Like, they love to feed you. And in their culture, it's so rude to not accept food. And so every night I'm trying to find ways of, okay, can I have the non-creamy stuff or just the chicken, please? So it was all in line. And I eventually learned how to have the right relationship with them and the food. And
Well
honestly,
done.
thank you. I tried some food, and the food that they give the public is not the food they eat in terms of hotness.
Oh, yeah, I've had similar experiences in my life, and oh man, yeah, it's
Yeah,
so much hotter.
like the color of it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it because I'll try anything. But that once was it. But actually, it was around the middle of that summer. It was 2016. So I'd been doing this for a couple of years, and I had no plans to go back from Mallorca to England until the November because I was going to finish out the season, reassess in the winter, know that I'm not going to be doing that amount of work going forward. So like look at things. And it was the beginning of August, and my mum phoned, and she'd said to me, my nan had been diagnosed with lung cancer about 18 months
Mm.
before. And she'd said to me, if you want to see Nan, you're going to have to come back now. So I literally dropped everything. I mean, if you've ever been in a situation where like nothing matters, the roof over your head doesn't matter, the job doesn't matter, I have to go and see my nan and I have to be there for my mum. And I got there, we drove down to the hospital, and I was there. My return flight was booked for 3 days later. And it wasn't until the hour before I had to leave that my nan eventually passed. It was almost like she held on knowing that she had the 3 days with me there. And the last thing I ever said to her was, I love you, Nan. And she was aware for that. And I'm so grateful to have had that experience and been able to have left everything. And
Yeah,
it was there that she had her children, she had all of her children there, and I was there. The other grandchildren didn't want to be there for their own personal reasons, which I understand. And I thought, I'm here supposedly living a dream in Mallorca. So we said the dream isn't the dream. I'm working all of these hours and I'm still miserable. And here's my nan at the end of her life. She's got the people who love her around her. I thought, I don't want to get to the end and think, what was I doing?
yeah,
And it was that really, really woke me up to go, okay, we've changed before. We can change this again. We can make things work. And mum and I decided to go into property together. She dragged me along to an event because she's always been interested in property. Ever since then, things have been different because we wanted to leave a legacy, and I want all of my grandparents to be looking down or up, probably, and being proud.
we won't go into the theological where people are. That's just too deep for another day.
They live on through us, and that's exactly why I do a lot of what I do. You know, you said why at the beginning, and a lot
Yeah,
of what I do is so that the memory of some great people live on.
I think that's wonderful. And I think there's a couple of things you've talked about there I want to pull out. One is it's not being afraid to change if something isn't working, because so many people end up stuck in positions where they go, I have to do this because this was the dream. I have to prove that it works. And it's like any journey. You can go on that journey, get to destination, and go, wow, this is really shit. This waterfall is not what I wanted to see. It's actually just a stream. I'm disappointed. And it's having the confidence to go, it's okay. Because actually, I learnt loads on that journey. It doesn't matter that destination wasn't what I wanted. I know that now, but I had to go on the journey to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other thing that you talked about, which is really interesting, is, again, you're doing it for your grandparents, or you're doing it for that legacy piece. And I think it's often really important to have a why bigger than you. And it doesn't have to be heal the world. It doesn't have to be cure cancer. It's just bigger than you. And sometimes that's a bigger motivation than just, oh, I think I want to do this because everyone tells me I should.
I will never do something because someone tells me I should.
Oh, you surprised me.
I'm more likely to not do it. But it's a fair point, though, and the world is bigger than us. And a lot of what I teach is about making you the center of your universe and really connecting with yourself and having a really great relationship with you, because you are the person you're going to have the longest relationship with. Other
Yeah.
people will come and go. Other people are meant to be in your life for a long time. Some are meant to be for a short time and in passing. But we always learn something from other people. And as a woman who doesn't want to procreate, I think it's important to still keep the memory of my families alive through what I do and the legacy that I leave behind with what it is that I'm doing. Now, it might have started from my love of nice things and nice shoes. I want to make loads of money so I can wear nice shoes, and now I'm barefoot most of the time.
The dream changes.
The dream changes, but I still have the shoes and I wear the shoes, but I'm able to do it knowing that I can talk about my grandparents. I talk about my grandparents every day. I think about them every day. And I know that by doing that, they live on through me. And then hopefully through what I do, when I'm not here, people will talk about me and what I've done and what we do. And then that will live on. And that piece, not about it from a selfish perspective of I want everyone to talk about me, but it's what we create, the communities that we create, and how we help people with their relationship with themselves, with where they live, how comfortable they are, how healthy they are, and really truly living and not just being out there surviving or existing, because life's too short to be miserable and for all of that. It's about really embodying what life is meant to be.
I totally agree. And I think sometimes I find that we wear misery like a badge of honor. I've worked these many hours. I don't have any money. And I say this not to disrespect those people there's people who are generally suffering and struggling. But there's also a certain amount of people who are just comfortable. And they're comfortable with being unhappy. And they'll moan and moan and moan, but they'll do nothing to change it, even though they could. And I think those are the people who, in some ways, I feel disappointment, sadness for, because you're stuck because you've kept yourself stuck. Whereas you see people who are truly, truly in deep, dark places who fight tooth and claw to get out and to change. And if they don't achieve it, it's not because they haven't done everything they can do. It's because genuinely there are circumstances to stop them. But when people go, oh, my life is so hard, it's like, well, what are you doing about it?
I see this all of the time, and I've known people for years, and they complain about the same thing year on year on year, and they do nothing differently about it. So I'm just like, that's your choice. You are now actively making a choice to stay in your misery and to stay in that shit cycle that you're in. That is your choice. Not making a decision is also making a decision. Sitting on the fence is making a decision. And if you're choosing the same thing, a mistake, if you do it once, maybe twice, is a mistake. But if you make that mistake repeatedly, you're making that a decision. So that's where people need to see the difference and either take responsibility for their life, like I've done, like you've done, like so many people have done, or they can complain and play the victim because the world's against them.
But they'll still be miserable at the end of it.
Of course they will. Life's too short for that.
It hits. I have a 2-strike rule with my husband and dad. If they start to complain about something medical, because it's men and they're moaning about stuff, they can moan about it once. If they moan about it twice and they haven't gone to the doctor, they get no sympathy from whatsoever until they go to a doctor. And what I find is either they go to a doctor and there's actually a problem there, or they don't go to the doctor and there's no problem. They shut up moaning about it. And it really works, I tell you. It's brilliant.
I like that. Not even 3 strikes, 2. 2 and you're out.
No. 3 is too generous. My life is short, time is precious.
I might adopt that into mine.
Just don't use it on me though. No, I can moan 3 times with you still.
Yeah.
No, I'm done now.
10 burpees.
Afterwards, I promise. And that's actually talking about burpees. The other thing that you do, which is different from other coaches and other mentors, is you do really look at the health as well as the wealth. And with your background as a personal trainer, but how do you bring that all together? What for you is the ideal setup for you and your clients to look at their health as well as their wealth?
It has to be your health first, because if you're not operating on the right cylinders and you're not firing on the right cylinders, you're not going to have what it takes to create the wealth that most people say they want anyway. Now, obviously, success is subjective and it means different things to different people. So it's looking at what is it that you say you want to achieve, and then what work are you actually willing to put in to create said goal. And then we'll reassess that said goal, because it might actually be that it's something big, or it might be that it's something smaller, and that's okay. So when you know that, you know what capacity you're currently at with your current health and your current lifestyle. If you can increase your cardiovascular capacity, you're going to have more energy, you're going to live longer, your brain's going to function better, and you're going to be able to put more into the business to be able to create those goals. Now, I find when we put the health stuff down as a non-negotiable, which is exactly what I do, and you know, I have a prerequisite: you cannot work with me unless you do some form of exercise. It must be something. And the more a client does to improve their health, the better their business gets, and then the bigger their goals get. So it's one and the same, but it's also not. So it's putting that into your diary. I think I've got this amount of time, this amount of capacity to do this amount of stuff for my health. That might be a 20-minute walk a day and 2 gym sessions a week, or insert other exercise. It might be running. If you're me, you'll hate running, unless it's December and you run every day. But that's another story, and I still hate it. So it's looking at that, and then looking at filling that space to your fullest capacity in those times, and then looking at how much energy you've got then thereafter that you're then putting into your wealth creation in your business. But also the happiness is also a key factor here as well. I don't believe in chasing something that doesn't make you happy, or doing things, working towards a business that actually isn't giving you any joy. I used to run a service accommodation business, absolutely hated it. It made me money, but I wasn't happy. So I couldn't spend that money with joy, because most of what I was doing, I wasn't enjoying. So we look at that, and happiness is a part of health as well. So when you've reached max capacity on your current health, you then max out on your current wealth. So then you peak, and then you take it up a notch in your health, and then we can take it up a notch in your wealth. So it does become symbiotic.
You're actually turning on the head that old adage of, you know, you sacrifice your health to make wealth, you sacrifice your wealth to make health. But the way you pull it together is, no, my friend, we get the health right first, because then the rest follows. And I think people underestimate the power of the pause, the power of taking a step back from working. And it's symbiotic, but it all aggregates. You walk more, you sleep better, you think clearer, you're more productive. Success leaves clues, and it often starts with a good night's sleep, believe it or not. So with your approach, you're forcing that naturally.
Yeah, and it's making people look at it in a different way and going, oh, hang on a minute, this makes me feel better. I've got more confidence. I'm happier because I'm liking what I see back in the mirror. I'm able to do more. I'm stronger. When you're stronger physically, you're stronger mentally, and that all adds up. And then people really start to get that, that light bulb goes on, and they're like, okay, well, if I can achieve this for myself physically, what can I do with my business? What exercises and processes can I put into creating more wealth if I'm able to increase my health capacity, and in actually quite a short period of time as well? It takes less time than most people think that it does to make improvements. And I know this from a decade of being in the health industry, but also through the fitness challenges that I run. We do 8-week fitness challenges, and I stopped doing them for a while. We started them again this year. And you'll see some people excuse, and other people go result. And then the people that are making excuses see the results from people that are creating results. And then through that community, they start to make a change and stop making excuses. And then they've got more energy, or someone quit smoking from one of our challenges this year. That, to me, is the biggest thing you could ever have done to improve your health and your wealth, especially the cost of cigarettes in the UK. And then off the back of that, they've created more business opportunity for themselves because they've got more energy. So it just goes to show that if you're surrounded by the right people and you're taking the right action and you're not making the excuses of, oh, I'm traveling, I'm doing this, I'm here, I'm busy, you know, yeah, I'm busy. You don't see me skip the gym unless I'm on like the last time I was in England, I had 4 days back to back, all day until late at night. But I knew that I had that coming, so I made allowances for that. And I made sure that my diet was on point and my steps were done. Yeah. So you just learn how to balance your life around what's going on and not beat yourself up if you can't achieve something one day, if something else is going on. Know the difference between taking a break and being lazy.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things there. One is the change happens when you're consistent in all things. And your 8-week sessions mean that consistency, you're laying the foundation for that behavioural change. And 8 weeks is a really good period of time for behavioural change, because all this is learning is new habits. You're teaching the habit of doing exercise. Mm-hmm. But the other thing, and you've said it already, but having the right group around you. And I know in your mentorship group, it's a small community, it's one I'm part of, obviously, and I feel more accountable because there's only like nine of us. Mm-hmm. And so if I don't do something, I feel like I'm letting down the rest of the team because it's so visible. But it's a good sized community because you have a range of people you can draw on support wise, but also you are held accountable. And that is super important because sometimes we need someone to give us a kick. Yeah. Or burpees in your case.
Well, sometimes it's a kick, a cuddle and some burpees. But yeah, for me, keeping those groups small and personal is never going to change. I would rather have 2 groups of 9 than 1 group of 18 where you get lost and you don't build that connection with each other and you lose that sense of self, because my people are not just a number to me. You're people, you're human beings, and you need a certain amount of accountability, amount of one-to-one time to be able to build those relationships in the right way. And when people get too big and the numbers are too big, people get lost and they don't achieve what they want to achieve because they feel lost. And I never want someone to feel lost with me. And if they do start to feel that way, I can sense it and I pick them up on it and I get them back on track privately. And because it's important to have that balance of working through the group and having that one-to-one stuff. And also for me, I know that I've only got so much capacity to give as well. So if I've got too many people, you're not going to get the best out of me. And that's not what I want for you. I want you to succeed.
I think lots of people can learn from that model because you're always taught one to many, one to many, one to many. That's also the way to burn out or to not deliver. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's finding your capacity in business for whatever it is you're doing. What does good look like? What is that optimal group where you can give your all, but also actually not burn out? Because, you've done the 3 jobs, I've done the 3 jobs. It takes a lot. It's not a life that you want forever. So what is that happy medium and how do you build it?
And it's looking at that and looking at what does your ideal day look like? When's your peak energy? You're not going to get me on the phone at 9 o'clock in the morning. I've learnt that. I am absolutely terrible at having conversations in the morning. I can message you. I can do that. But words coming out of my mouth, very unlikely to happen, which is why my days don't start until later. And even then it's a push, but I've, again, allowed for that. And finding out what your capacity is through trial and error. And it's through taking on too much, sometimes on purpose, to see where your stress point is. And once you know where your stress point is, you can go, okay, this is too much for me. Let me pull back and then reassess and rearrange. And that's what I did. It's like, whoa, too much. No, run away. And it's like, no, I can't run away. Let's rejig and reorganize.
And that's really good self-awareness as well. Throughout your career, for your journey, you've pivoted, you've adjusted. Service accommodation wasn't for you, so you changed it. You took on too many people, so you changed it. And I think the important thing here is life is a journey of test and adjust. And also what you want changes. So you may decide in 5 years' time that actually you want to serve 1 billion people, and then you have to do, shows around the world or something. That if you do, I want a commission for that idea, just for the record.
Well, this is what the podcast is for, and the idea is to speak on many stages. But in terms of like that close proximity stuff, that for me is never going to change, because I'm not going to be able to deliver.
Absolutely.
But yes, I will credit you with commission, of course.
Thank you very much. But actually, talk about the podcast. So you have your podcast is in the top 2%, I think, globally.
2.5, but yes, let's go.
2.5.
We'll
round up.
We'll aim for 2. We always round up, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we are 4 years old, nearly 200 episodes. Started out February 2020, just before the world went crazy, and it actually did me quite well, because it connected me with some great people. Everyone was on Zoom, and it's just really allowed me to explore some really interesting topics, have great conversations with people. It's also given me a platform to voice what's going on for me, and it's brought me clients, it's brought me people that are just listening. When I look at the downloads, and I'm like, I was talking to Kane today about it, and he's like, that's 1,000 different people that have listened just this week, right?
Amazing.
And that's 1,000 different people that have listened to 56 minutes of that one particular episode. So that's a lot of people that are actively choosing to listen to something. So this is why I think it is so important for business owners, for entrepreneurs, for people with an idea to have a podcast, to get out to listen, for people to listen to something that they're interested in that might get missed in the online busy world of social media. Because you open, this is what we were talking about earlier, like you open the app and everyone's there, right? Any social media app, everyone's there. But when you open whatever platform you choose to listen to podcasts on, whatever platform you're choosing to listen to this podcast on, you have chosen to go into there and you have chosen to listen to this.
Yeah.
And that's an important distinction, and why it is so important to have these things that help people, that people can go and listen to. Like I said, I've got nearly 200 episodes. It's called Confidence Mastery. We talk about confidence, mindset, entrepreneurship. I've talked about the ethereal world, the physical world, logical, and the more we grow on the, I now call journey, the cycle of progression through it, and the more interesting the stuff gets. But I also find that people still go back and listen from the beginning, which is really great.
Yeah, I think we underestimate the power of a story, because actually that's all of us want is our story to be heard and to hear stories. I have you ever been to Eden Project? In the Mediterranean dome, they have story time, which is for the children. And I've been there about 3 or 4 times, and I'm always at story time, because I'm like, I just blend in with the children, because I love a story. And but I particularly love it when it's normal people, everyday folk who have just worked hard and achieved what they want to achieve, or on that path, because it gives me hope to go, well, we're no different. We're all flesh and blood. If they can do it, I can do it, and I choose to do it. And that's where the stories really help.
Exactly that. And we read novels as adults, we listen to other people, I don't put people on a pedestal. I don't have a person that you say who inspires you the most. There isn't somebody famous that I would give you a name for, because I just see they're a person that's gone after their goals and they've achieved it. That's no different to somebody going, I want to be a nurse and I want to save people's lives, right? And I think that there needs to be recognition, like you say, for the normal person that goes out and does these things that actually impact so many other people's lives in a way that someone who's acting in films doesn't. So never forget about the things that the ordinary people do, because the ordinary people are actually what make the world.
Absolutely. I was asked the other day who inspires me, and I said my dog. And they went, why? I said, because she's always happy, she's always up for it. She loves everybody. Who doesn't want to be like that? So there we go. My dog inspires me. Also, she balances napping and exercise really, really well. That is life goals right there.
That sounds like my soul. I'm all about that. Naps and exercise.
It's the way to live.
Siestas for the win, I'm telling you.
Oh, I miss working in Spain, honestly. I miss my siesta time. If I ever went into politics, I'd stand on the platform of siestas for everybody, but
Build it
let's
in.
not go there.
Philippa, build it in.
Oh, today I had a siesta before we had this call. Do not worry.
Good. I am glad to hear it.
I'm getting there, honestly, I tell you. So what is your future vision then, or what's next for you?
So in terms of the property side, we are still wanting and are actively looking for sites to build communities, homes for people, and other exciting projects. And ideally, in the long term, what we're looking for is to help change the face of housing associations, and considering looking at that in terms of a housing trust. And with that being the much longer term vision of that's our legacy, there's not going to be a bloodline through me, but we can do that with what we create in the way that the housing associations we have in the UK at the moment, they don't make money, they're underfunded, they don't really look after people, they're not well run, the organisation it doesn't work as effectively as it could. So that's something that Mum and I have been speaking about, that how can we change that for people so that people are housed socially, looked after, and so that the company makes money and their profits put back into, so everyone's paid, and then the housing is good quality. In terms of me personally, it's continuing with the podcast, the retreats, the masterminds, and the book, obviously, which I've been writing for a very long time. I've got to finish in 2 weeks if it's going to come out for my birthday.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. But there's also another project that I'm very keen to get off the ground, which is a clothing line for women who lift. And
amazing.
That's because we don't have off the rack bodies, and most women don't have off the rack bodies anyway. And trying to find something, I find it so difficult to shop. I've got broad shoulders, a small waist, I've got thick thighs, so things don't fit. And so that's what I've been doing research on, and that's what I'm looking to bring up. And sometime next year is that line for off the rack bodies, not off the rack bodies. Get that right, Natalie.
People who weightlift or have different body shapes.
Ladies who lift, for women who lift. Yeah, ladies who lift.
Ladies who lift. There's your brand, Ladies Who Lift. Quick, trademark that.
Yes, I better. As soon as I get off here, I'm going on the government website.
Quick. Amazing. Before we finish then, if you had to give someone advice now on just moving their life forward, what would that be, no matter what their situation is?
Look at the end goal. Start with the end in mind. Where do you want to be? And then think about, is that really where you want to be? Or is it actually something else? Is that something that somebody else has said they want for you? There are your parents that want their kids to go to university and become a lawyer or a doctor or whatever. If that's not what you want, follow your heart and follow your gut instinct into what it is that you truly want, and that will help you to get there more than anything else. Because when you truly desire something and your heart and your gut's telling you to go for it, you're going to do and move heaven and earth to make it happen.
Amazing, thank you. Natalie, you are on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, OnlyFans? I'm joking.
I used to have a foot page.
Hey, look, it's an income. It's all cool. So
Everyone's
everyone
got
can come and find you. Everyone, and if they pay for it, they pay for it. I'll put all your links in the show notes below. Thank you ever so much for being here. It's been wonderful to have you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to everybody who's listening. Make sure you listen to every other episode that Philippa puts out too.
Yes, thank you. See you later.